I was living in a really small one-bedroom condo, and the time came for me to inherit some furniture that was very meaningful to me. The furniture belonged to my grandmother. She bought most of the furniture in the late 1940s and mid-1950s. So it came time to find something bigger, and I found this house. I really love the homes in this particular neighborhood. There are a lot of row houses. They have a lot of interesting architectural features. Some of them have intricate brick and stone work on the front, and that's one thing that I really liked about this particular house. I think I knew that this was the home that I had to have the minute I walked in the door. First thing you see is this amazing handrail that goes up the stairs. It's original condition in its original finish, and it's just been beautifully maintained. It was a Victorian home. This is a house that's built in 1892. Of course, I knew that I was going to acquire a lot of this mid-century furniture. What I decided was that I would create a Victorian home in the 1960s. Things didn't happen in a linear fashion. I did acquire this house. I also heard about Mad Men and the amount of research that went into designing these sets. And it kind of inspired me to learn more about these different pieces of furniture, as well as the time period in which they were popular, in which they would have appeared in people's homes. The first thing that people notice about the dining room is the pink walls. And that was a recommendation by my mom, who told me that back in the 1950s, my grandmother had a pink dining room. And this furniture, this blonde furniture, sat in a pink dining room. I didn't follow any advice without doing some research. And in fact, I learned that the Eisenhowers had made pink very popular and that lots of people in the 1950s had pink in their homes. I decided on a shade of pink that appears in one of the paintings. All of these paintings are based on vintage photographs. She's definitely pregnant, definitely having a cigarette and drinking a can of Coke. I was really drawn by this piece because of all the wonderful colors, bright colors, but the painting is also of a family reunion, and it reminds me of the family reunions that we used to have when I was a child. I've always had a really close relationship with my grandmother. There were a lot of time spent on Sundays having dinner around this table. So I picked a vintage photograph of my family celebrating Christmas in the mid-1960s. And I sent that picture to Signe and Gena Groshevenko. And I had them paint this picture. The painting features not only my family, but also the dining room furniture that I have in this house, as well as the light fixture. My grandparents had this bedroom set for almost their entire married life. I love it for so many different reasons. The story goes that my grandmother saw it in the furniture store window and had to have it, so my grandfather bought it for her. It's got a really unique finish on it. It's kind of an orange color. There's some really unique patterns in the wood. The handles are really beautiful. They have bakelite in them. They're really big and very intricate. I found this really interesting color, chenille bedspread, and that's what I have on the bed. As a child, I'm looking at these pieces and they're unique, they're different, they're kind of strange. A lot of the furniture and a lot of the decorative pieces, they're influenced by space exploration. The mirror above the bedroom is a starburst. The sconces in the living room are shaped like stars, and they kind of have these little planets sticking out of them. There are some sconces in the dining room. They have a star shape as well. Even the dishes in the china cabinet have gold rings like the rings around the planet Saturn.
Oh.
The thing I like about mid-century design and mid-century furniture in particular is the style and the shape. I didn't have all of the mid-century furniture that I needed to furnish the home, so I had to source a lot of antiques, and I decided to go with Edward Wormley's furniture. I like the functionality of the furniture. The little table that sits next to the gray chair, it's just the right size. I use his magazine table to store music next to the piano. It also functions as an end table, and I have a lamp sitting on it next to the couch. I had both the couch and the chair custom made. One thing that was really unique about this house is that there were some existing mid-century pieces. The pink fixtures in the bathroom. There were existing tub, toilet, and sink. We took them out, we gut the bathroom right down to the studs, and recreated this bathroom.
Some people think that it's easy to just pull out an old toilet or an old sink and save it and reinstall it later. Actually, a lot of those old parts, once they're loosened up and removed, putting them back in is a lot trickier than one might think. A lot of times we will take out the inner workings and replace some of those key elements, but then leave the main part of the fixture.
John really supported my vision. He found a tile company who were still making tiles in original mid-century colors. The bathroom was an endless number of decisions and choices that needed to be made. One of the first projects I undertook was having the bookcases built.
With the bookcases, that was a bit of trial and error with the design. And then once we had a design finalized, figuring out how we were going to build it, support the weight of all the books on these walls that are very thin, plaster on top of solid brick.
And the bookcases were deeper than the existing fireplace. So we built out the fireplace and found this amazing mantel at a salvage store. I was also researching about Victorian homes. I discovered that there were a lot of changes that happened over the decades. There were a lot of things that had to be restored. In fact, at some point, there had been a niche in the dining room, and someone had taken it out and boarded it over. Picture rail is used to hang pictures from using a bracket and wire. All of the original picture rail had been removed. So the contractor actually went upstairs and created a template of the existing picture rail in the upstairs hallway and had new picture rail made.
The floor in the foyer and the entryway, it was very worn, old, 100-year-old floor.
Once I decided that I would do tile, John found a company in England that made Victorian tile floors. And so the whole process really began with making a paper template of the rooms and then sending that to England, where they then put the tile together, put the pattern together. A popular wall cover material in the late 1800s is this material called Lincrusta. It's also made in England, and I found someone on House who not only knew how to install it, but paint it. There. I did set out to create my dream home, and I think that I achieved that. I really like being surrounded by these things that bring back a lot of memories.